Oh my god. So, I attempted to make this review yesterday. In fact, I didn't attempt it. I did make this video yesterday. But the quality was ass. I mean, just god-awful. I could not, for the love of God, upload that video. And the reason for it is because I actually recorded the video using my Wi-Fi rather than my Ethernet cord, this one right here. And usually when I do a live stream, I use my Ethernet cord because it's faster, it's clearer. And it clearly shows because when I did the same thing using the Wi-Fi, it looked like shit. So here we go. I'm gonna do this review all over again, god damn it. But you know what, it's okay. This is actually a blessing in disguise because I wasn't really proud of the first take anyway. So now I can do a much better version. And I am wearing my Warriors gear because not only did they win against the Nets yesterday, which is something I mentioned in the first video, and how I was upset with their performance because it should not have been that close, but they also played today against the Bulls, which I'm hoping for a victory, which I guess I can expect a victory, but considering they played very close with the Nets, yeah, I'm hoping this time. I'm hoping for a victory. I hope they get it clicking. I hope Curry continues his streak of consecutive games with 5 or more three-pointers because he's the best player in the game, in my opinion. Yes, I know people love LeBron, people love KD. Steph's my guy. But we're not here to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about the new Netflix series, Castlevania. So, the series, which is based off of a popular video game, takes place in the land of Wallachia. And in the land of Wallachia lives a terrifying beast known as Vlad Dracula Tepish. But he's confronted by a headstrong woman who wants to learn the ways of the world, gain some new knowledge for herself, and help the people of Wallachia using the knowledge and information at Dracula's feet. And in the process, both of them end up falling in love with each other. But many years later, the church decides, you know what would be a great idea? Let's poke the bear by killing Dracula's wife at the stake. Let's burn her alive. And she pleads and begs, don't do this! He's gonna attack! And sure enough, when he comes back from his journey, when he comes back from his adventure, he finds his house in ruin and his wife missing. And what does he do? He tells the people of Wallachia, how dare you kill my wife? You know what? Just for her sake, I'm gonna give you 1 year to prepare for my onslaught. 1 year. And 1 year later, they mockingly say, oh, where's this Dracula character? He said he was gonna kill us all, but nothing's happened. And then a raindrop falls on the Archbishop's hand, and everybody gets slaughtered and killed by beasts. He did warn them. And at this time, we now focus our attentions on another character, Trevor Belmont, who was once part of a very prestigious family of Wallachia that has been excommunicated because of their ways and traditions. And he kind of is in hiding. He doesn't want to show off that he is a Belmont because they're not really looked upon with the most favorable light. But he decides to go around, venture in the lands that are being terrorized by these people, bumps into a group of speakers, helps them out, and they convince him to kind of carry on the Belmont name to what it truly was, which is helping out the people of Wallachia from the darkness of the world, the evils and terrors that the world has. And so he decides to no longer be a runaway, no longer running away from his duties, running away from his destiny. He decides to team up with one of the speakers named Sypha to tackle the armies of Dracula. And in the process, he also bumps into Dracula's son, Alucard, who also wants to take down his father at the behest of his mother. And we follow these three as they try to face off against Dracula's army. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this series is actually based off of a popular video game series. In fact, it's based off of the third game in the series, which I found out while doing some research, that it was actually a prequel, telling the story before Simon Belmont, which makes more sense because when I first saw the series, I'm like, who the hell is Trevor Belmont? I know there's a Simon Belmont, so are they just telling a new story, different take? No. Same story, but they're starting at the beginning. And then they're gonna build up to Simon, I believe. So, I was pretty curious to check it out. I did have my hesitations, because, again, this is a series, TV show adaptation of a popular video game series, and we all know how those, we all know how those turn out. We all know how those turn out. But thankfully, this is one of the rare cases where it does not turn out to be shit. In fact, it turns out to be quite good. Sure, there's some hiccups here and there, but overall, an entertaining show. I will say, though, this show does a really great job at trolling you sometimes, especially with that first season. I mean, not only do they give us 4 episodes only, but then they end on a note where it's like, oh, we're building up to something, and nope, you gotta wait till the next season. You gotta wait another year before you can actually get the resolution. You have no idea how pissed I was when that happened. I see the fight between Trevor and Alucard. I think, oh my god, here it comes. It's building up. Wait, that's it? It's over? It's over? Are you kidding me? And I gotta wait how long? Okay, fine. But you better come with it in the second season. I expect no half-assing, no half measures. I want some epicness in the second season. And for the most part, that is what I got, with a few exceptions here and there. But we'll get into that. Let's actually talk about the things I liked about Transylvania. Damn it, I was telling myself I wasn't going to say Transylvania. And then I did it. Castlevania! Let's talk about the good things about Castlevania. The most notable thing, I think we all can agree, is the action. It's marvelous to behold. I like how fast-paced it is, how clean and crisp the movements of the characters are. In fact, it's the best animation the series offers whenever they do the action scenes. And don't worry, I'll touch on the animation a little later, because I have a few things to say about the animation. But during the action scenes, the animation is top-notch. It's clean, it's crisp. I like the phoneticness of the action. I like how creative some of these action scenes are. They're compelling and very entertaining to watch. What else do I mean, I like a lot of things, not just the action. I will say, I was quite surprised at how compelling the story is and how great the dialogue is, too. Both on a dramatic sense and a comedic sense. There's some witty lines and banters and interactions among the characters. Some of my favorites is actually between Vlad and, oh man, his wife's name, Lisa. Vlad and Lisa. Like, the first exchange of the series is actually a really good exchange. Because you think that she would be cowering in fear, but no. She's very headstrong. She's not dealing with any of Dracula's antics. She's not gonna fall for his bullshit. And he's taken aback just as much as we're taken aback. And we fall in love with her as much as he fell in love with her. So I like that interaction. I love all the interactions, honestly, between the characters. Whether it be an emotional interaction or a comedic one. Trevor and Alucard, whenever they would interact with each other, is so freaking fun, because they're like that cliche duo that they kind of resent each other, but they also respect each other at the same time. But you sense the chemistry there. And then you got Trevor and Sypha. Another good banter, another good relationship. In fact, it's my favorite relationship. I think they fleshed it out very well. I felt a connection with them throughout the episodes, building up to what will be their potential romance, which I'm game. I'm all for this potential romance because they're so cute together. And Sypha has to be one of the hottest characters I've seen in 2018. She may be my waifu of the year. She is bombing. Beauty. I don't know if that's how her character looked like in the original game, but I don't care. If she looks like that, my goodness. Beautiful. And speaking of the character interactions, I like the characters. I found a majority of them to be very interesting, very entertaining. Some of them even got some great development. And even for characters that we don't see much of, we get a good sense of what their personalities are like, what type of people they were. Like Lisa Tepish, we see her in only the first episode of each season, but I feel like I got such a good grasp of what type of person she was. Headstrong, confident, resilient, smart, and willing to put up with Dracula's bullshit. And even a person that can help mold him into a better individual. I like that they fleshed out Dracula too. He wasn't just some one-note cliche villain that was out to rule Wallachia because I'm powerful and I'm bored, I want to do all this. No, he's actually a tragic villain. He's a villain that, you know, he wanted to give it all up. He wanted to live a good life, but then humanity had to go and fuck up and kill his wife, and he's just like, you know what? No more. You know what he reminds me of? He's like a vampire Magneto. Remember, Apocalypse? I know it's not a good movie, but remember Apocalypse where, you know, Magneto was ready to give it all up so he could live nice and cozy in the woods, in a cabin, with his wife and kid, and then they killed his wife and kid, and he's just like, you know what? Screw this. I gave you guys enough chances. Fuck all of you. I'm killing you all. And that's basically what happened with Dracula. He's just like, I just want to live a peaceful life. I wasn't doing anything. I was trying to be a human at the request of my wife, and you killed her. You know what? No more. No holds bar. You fucked my life up, I'm gonna fuck everybody's life up. It's kind of like, he's like, the word I'm thinking of is a petulant child who got something taken from him, and so he thinks that everyone else can't have anything because he got something taken from him. And you kind of get a sense of that. He throws tantrums, he gets easily angered and riled up. In fact, the word man-child pops up a lot in this show, mainly by a female saying, oh, you're all just man-children. I actually agree with the sentiment because the mentality is that of a child, even though they're all grown people. But I like that they gave Dracula more of a purpose for his vendetta, why he decided to go on a rampage against humanity. Again, I don't know if that's the same way in the game series, but I liked it for this series right here. And then the main characters of Trevor, Sypha, and Alucard, all of which were very interesting. I like that you get a sense of how conflicted both Trevor and Alucard are, especially with Alucard, because this is his father he has to kill. He grew up with this man. This man raised him with his mother, and now he has to turn the sword against his father to stop his mayhem, to stop his crazy antics. That's difficult. That's very difficult, and I think the show does a really good job at expressing that, displaying it. And then with Trevor, with his family identity, he was constantly running away from it, literally and figuratively, and then finally he's reached a point where he can no longer run away from it. His destiny is calling for him. The call to adventure is there. All he needs to do is just take it. And so he finally just stops running around, stops pussyfooting around, and takes on his destiny. And I like seeing that. As for Sypha, I wish they would have developed her a little bit more. In fact, I have a lot to say about the development of some of these characters and how they chose to develop some, but not all. Some of the side characters were pretty interesting. Hector and Isaac were interesting characters, given a bit too much, but interesting nonetheless. That one vampire chick that probably will be the main villain in the 3rd season, very interesting. Yeah, I guess that's really all there is to the characters. What else? I like the character designs. The character designs were really great. The voice acting was really good too. I thought everybody did a great job with their deliveries, especially the girl who voices Sypha. I don't remember what her name is. It's like Alejandra or I can't see. You know I can't pronounce it. I'm not even gonna attempt it now. But she was great. I loved oh my god, he was the main dwarf in The Hobbit. His name escapes me now too. See, this is why I should write my reviews, Tony. See? For some reason I was thinking Peter Dinklage for some reason. I don't know why I was thinking Peter Dinklage, but he was great. Oh, Richard Armitage. That's his name. Richard Armitage. He was great. James Callis was great. The guy who voiced Dracula, his last name is McTavish, I believe. He was also in The Hobbit, by the way. Interesting. All of them did great. They gave solid performance. They either sounded menacing, relatable, likable, soft, kind, endearing. Great performances all around. The character designs, as much as the animation might not have been the greatest, the character designs, I liked how anime-esque it was. You could definitely tell it was inspired by anime, and it looks great. The character designs, the detail that they put into the character designs, solid job. And then the music. I found the music haunting. I found it enthralling. Just really good. It's a really good soundtrack. Trevor Morris, you did a great job there. Now as for some problems. How is it that you had a whole year to really buff out your animation, and your animation is still sloppy? What do I mean by that? Whenever the action isn't on screen, the animation quality takes a dip in quality. It just dips. Like, there's like few missing frames when characters are like moving from place to place. It's very evident in the first episode, where you go into Alicia Tepish's house, and I can't tell whether or not they did this on purpose. Maybe they didn't have the money, but the mouth movement was not in sync with the dialogue. The way that she was moving around just felt very stilted and jilted. Like, it was awful. And it continues throughout the series. It gets a little better, but it still continues throughout the series, and it upsetted me so much, because I'm like, you had a whole year to improve the quality. Where's the in-between animation? Like, it's so bad. Noticeably bad. Especially when you compare it to the animation and the action. You're like, where is this animation at for the rest of the series? I don't get it. Can't you keep a consistent quality of animation throughout? Why did you put all of your money into these action scenes, but when it came to just simple scenes with characters talking with each other, awful. One thing that really bothered me too is the selection of which character gets development. The second season focused a lot on these two side characters named Hector and Isaac, and while I appreciate that the show took its time to really make us spend some time with the characters, they chose the wrong characters to flesh out. I don't care about Isaac, I don't care about Hector. I just need to know just a little bit about them, and then we can move on. But no, they gave them like full episodes. Oh, this is what Hector's life was like before he met Dracula. This is what Isaac's life was like before he met Dracula. That's nice and all, but you know whose backstories we wanted to see? Trevor's, Sypha's, Dracula, and his wife Lisa, Alucard growing up with his family. You know, the main characters. Why is it? Can you explain to me? Why is it that you decided to focus on these two side characters that none of us have met before, rather than focusing on the characters that we already know, yet we don't know much about? I don't know what was Trevor's life before this moment, and I would have loved to known it. I would have loved to see more of Dracula and Lisa's relationship. Just a little bit more. Just maybe one episode of a flashback of them being together, because they only share one scene in the entire series, and that's in the first episode of the first season. And they had great chemistry, a great relationship. I would have loved to see it over the years. And then there's Alucard. What was his relationship like with his mother compared to his father? Why did he choose his mother's side over his father's side? Details like that need to be explained, because I don't know what his relationship was like with his family. Was it strained between him and his father and stronger with his mother? What was it? Why is that why he chose to side with his mother when it came to Dracula's overall plans? But no, we get Hector and Isaac's backstory. The slave that got beat by his owner, and the kid that just loved pets. I mean, Jesus, I get it. I thank you for the insight, but that's not the insight that I wanted. And then there's the fact that there are so many interesting characters that they just refuse to focus on entirely. The only vampire character that they decide to focus on in the series is this one called Godbrand. Is Godbrand entertaining? Yes. Is he interesting as a character? Absolutely not. There were so many other vampires in that council, his generals. Like, there's this one that looked like a Kyoshi warrior. She looked like she came from Asia. There's one that looked like he came from India. There's so many fascinating vampire-like characters that could have easily gotten the spotlight, but we focused on Godbrand, this vampire Viking who's crude, loud, and gets in your face all the time. And not only that, he was the worst performance too. The voice actor, I don't know whether it was the direction he was given or that's just how he does his performance, but it was bad. It sounds like he was reading his lines very carefully while trying to maintain his accent. I hated it. It was just awful altogether. And I guess the last complaint is some of the sound mixing in the series. In the first episode of the second season, I was so taken aback. Not only how cheap the animation quality was at the beginning, but how cheap the sound mixing was. There's a scene where Lisa's house is getting raided by the church. And they're tossing around, throwing things to the ground. And the sounds that they make when they're throwing stuff around is not accurate to what it would sound like if someone was rummaging through somebody's house. Like, barely you hear like the clink or like that. You didn't hear any of that. I think there was only one moment where you actually heard that, where this guy throws a vase on the ground and then it makes a clink, but it's like a soft clink. And I was like, really? You can do some better sound mixing than that? God, do better, show. Now, granted, it does get better as time goes on, but geez, that was a bad first impression for the second season. Overall, despite its many flaws, I still had a kick. I had a fun time watching see? Almost did it again. I had a fun time watching Castlevania. And I do think it is one of the best adaptations of a game series I've seen in a very long time. I can't even remember the last good one. But it's really good. I wouldn't say excellent. It's really good, and I think that it's definitely worth watching. But as always, guys, I'm not the end-all, be-all opinion when it comes to Castlevania. I would love to know what you guys thought about the series as well. Did you love it to death? Is it one of your favorite adaptations of a video game series? Or did you find it boring, dull, uninteresting, you just couldn't get into it? And let me know, what is your favorite game in the Castlevania series, and who's your favorite character? Comment below, let me know, and do tell me what you think about this new format. Are you a fan of it? Are you not a fan of it? Do let me know so I can improve upon it and give you guys more videos. I thank you all for watching. If you'd like to join my Discord, there's a link in the description. If you'd like to send me any letters, fan letters, there's my P.O. box in the description as well. Just check out the description. There's so much good stuff in there. And as always, guys, if you'd like to see more videos of this channel, be a part of the Black Critic Crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Watt II, carrying a pink pick as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.